On today's episode of Huber Hype, we want to raise the dead. Great article on Polygon last week about Alan Wake 2. They interviewed Sam Lake. They had a 13-minute gameplay demo of what the game would be. And in the article, he stated that it was a pitch to studios to try to get this game off the ground, get support, and no one bought it. Everyone, the support was minimal, and they later moved on to Quantum Break, pretty much ensuring that we're never gonna get an Alan Wake 2. That is an injustice. So I'm sitting at my computer desk, little teardrops down my face for my friend Sam Lake, and I get depressed, and I start thinking about dead franchises from my childhood, from my teenage years, games that are dormant, that need to be brought back from the depths. We are gonna talk about a few of those right now. Road Rash! Specifically Road Rash 2. That is the prime of this franchise. There were later releases, I think ending with Road Rash Jailbreak in 1999 or so on PlayStation. But the early days of this franchise on Sega Genesis are clearly the definitive golden years. Public Enemy #1, that damn racer, every single time would be in first place. And to catch up to her, you would have to weave your way through the competition with billy clubs and the chain, the great equalizer of the chain, whipping your opponent, 2 hits and they're down. Billy club is strong, but the range is weak. This game was 2 players. Now you could work together with your friends to try to thin the herd, but you could also betray them, because really, there's only one first place. With the release of Double Dragon Neon and the digital space being so bountiful, especially for older franchises, it would be a perfect fit for a $15, $20 downloadable game of Road Rash, emphasizing combat and weaponry and fast-paced speed. Make it happen. This next one we briefly touched on during an episode of Huber's Q. It's Onimusha. Not a week goes by where I don't think about being a samurai in feudal Japan, carving through enemies as Samanosuke. This franchise was so rich, and it was similar to Resident Evil in that there was a main antagonist through line. Events in later games were connected back to the previous games, and in modern times, with next-gen graphics, feudal Japan could be this glorious battleground playground for samurai slicing action. So the bummer about this franchise is that it really hit its prime with Onimusha 3. That's widely considered one of the best entries. Some people argue 2. But right around that time, we got a Tactics Onimusha game, and then that weird Onimusha Smash Brothers style Blade Warriors game. They overextended themselves. Couple years later, we got Onimusha 4. It failed to capture an audience, and the franchise has been dormant ever since. Why? It's been too long. This franchise, it needs to come back, Capcom. We're getting impatient. It's been over a decade. It just mysteriously vanishes. You have one game that doesn't do well, and you say, well, I guess nobody wants to play that franchise. We do, Capcom. Make it happen. Getting a little heated. This next one gets me even more heated. Can you believe that it has been 13 years since Warcraft 3 was released? Pause for a second. Just think about where you were 13 years ago. I wasn't even able to drive an automobile, living with my parents, going to high school. Just put it in perspective. It's been a long, long time since Warcraft 3 was released. And I say, Blizzard, quit messing around with Heroes of the Storm. Quit gouging people and nickel and diming them in Hearthstone. Go back to your roots. What started it all, Warcraft. Warcraft, bring it back. You know, right after Frozen Throne, World of Warcraft came out, and that was the coolest thing ever when this MMO world existed canonically right after Warcraft 3. Events in that game carried on to World of Warcraft. Since that time, a million crazy things have happened. But can you imagine the synergy now if Warcraft 4 came out while World of Warcraft is out, or World of Warcraft 2 or something? Just the synergy that those games could have, and the way that you could reward loyal World of Warcraft players going into Warcraft 4 just makes my head dream of the possibilities. Come on, Blizzard. Also, you know, MOBAs, they're really intense, they're really serious. StarCraft, my favorite Blizzard game, but so stressful. I play 3 games, I just need to go lay down for a few minutes. Warcraft was jolly. 4-player battles, everyone had their hero unit. Now that MOBAs are the biggest thing ever, you think they would go back to that style where you're controlling your army and you have your MOBA hero unit. We need a Warcraft 4, Blizzard. You know, think about hero hype, it gets depressing. We can't cover everything, you know, things are gonna get lost in the shuffle. I got Bossman, you know, checking his watch, doing this every couple minutes, gotta hurry the show along, you know, crunching the numbers, under 10 minutes, in between 7 minutes, this many views. Can only cover one more game. A franchise that is dead. It's dead. And we need to accept it. Half-Life, where are you? You know, I'm a very patient person. But when you make promises and you say, yo, we're gonna give you an expansion trilogy. We're gonna come out with Half-Life 2 Episode 1, Episode 2, and Episode 3. Now, when you give me Episode 2, and it's the best of it all, it is. It's the culmination of Half-Life as far as I'm concerned. When you give us Episode 2 and you end on one of the biggest cliffhangers in video game history, and then go radio dark. You go radio silence, CIA Black Ops style, no word about Half-Life. You release a little bit of art here and there. You say, you know, we don't really want to talk about it. It's just, I'm seriously, I'm just hurt. I'm not mad. I'm hurt. Valve, you know, I've purchased all of your games. Half-Life is a defining moment in my life, and you're not even going to acknowledge anything about Half-Life 3. I mean, if you came out and you said, yo, we're making it. When it's done, Blizzard style, they know what to do. They say, yo, we're making this game. It'll come out when it's done. Just give me that. Give me something like that. Half-Life needs to come back. It's unfinished business. We need to take the fight to the Combine. Who the hell is the G-Man? It wouldn't be Huber Hype if we didn't mention Shenmue, at least in some capacity. We had brought it up in the pilot episode, actually, of HD remasters. Clearly, Shenmue needs to be brought back from the dead. And a number of other games that I'm sure the comments will yell at me for not bringing up, which I urge you to do. You know, it's just a touchy subject. It's an emotional one. Let's get some of these games back from the dead. Let's give them a second chance on life, necromancer style. Last week we talked about Westerns. We had a lot of comments. Here's some of those comments. First up, Christopher. Castle Crashers never got a mention for beat 'em ups. Disgusted. We did that episode a few weeks ago. A lot of Castle Crashers love out there. I did not happen to bring it up. Christopher, still a little bit ticked off about that. I'm sorry. Castle Crashers, phenomenal beat 'em up. 4-player co-op. You know I love that more than anything. That is just a jolly good time. Castle Crashers, there you go. JW, High Plains Drifter. That is all. Clint Eastwood, just in his prime. He is a nut job in this movie. He just comes to this town and, flips it upside down. If you haven't seen the movie, check it out. Fish 23, while it is inferior to RDR, I want to mention Gun. It was actually a pretty great game, and it was one of the first games I played on Xbox 360. Great story, good shooting mechanics, prison breaks, train shenanigans, armored horses, legendary hunts, good game. A lot of people came out in the comments to talk about Gun. A lot of people direct messaged me on Twitter, and I gave them this answer. Gun got bumped at the last minute for Oregon Trail. I'm sorry, Gun. Gun was on the list. It was gonna be talked about. Phenomenal game. Embodies what a Western is, but, Oregon Trail, can't beat it. Last up, Ryan English, Wild Guns, Cowboys and Robots. What more do you need? How about great graphics and a pumping soundtrack? I had never heard of this game, got that comment, immediately went to YouTube, entered in the soundtrack, listened to the soundtrack. It was phenomenal. Dawn, let's hear it. Yeah, that game slid under the radar. It is my mission now to play Wild Guns. Coming up this week on GameTrailers.com and our new YouTube channel, we have the return of The Depths, where we talk about Bloodborne for an hour-long, in-depth discussion. It's really intense. You don't want to miss it. Pretty much the whole staff was on that one. Also, I saw Ben Moore plugging away on a Broken Age review. That should be going up sometime soon. And new episodes of Final Bossman and Mandatory Update. And this Wednesday at 6 p.m. on Game Trailers Twitch, we got GT Live, hosted by none other than Brandon Jones. Special guests, voice actors Dave Fenoy and Kif Vandenheuvel. That's it for the show. I am at Michael P. Huber. Let's talk about some epic franchises that are just buried 6 feet under, that need to punch through the dirt and make a resurgence. Too many to talk about. Let me hear some of your favorites. Have a good week. It's time for Huber's Cube. Movie tie-ins are usually garbage, but not when you get to play as Hugh Jackman in X-Men Origins Wolverine. Carve people up as Hugh Jackman himself. Rip people to shreds. Play as Wolverine is supposed to be played, with blood and guts. Epic Easter eggs, God of War style combat, and Hugh Jackman as Wolverine. You don't want to miss it.